Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
And it is going to be a blast of a night tonight. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so we are going to get right into this as we talk about The Mandalorian. We talk about Hong Kong Disneyland. We talk about, what else are we talking about?
Holidays.
Holidays, all sorts of fun things. But first, we need to talk about trains.
Trains?
Very important to talk. You didn't look at the update to the order that I did like 2 hours ago. What did we do on Sunday, Katie?
We went to the Southern California Railway Museum.
We went to the Southern California Railway Museum. What did we see there?
We saw trains. We saw many trains. Yeah, it was very fun. We unfortunately didn't get to see all the trains we wanted to because a lot of the indoor exhibits are closed at Southern California Railway Museum.
That is
But
correct.
there are 2 Ward Kimball trains there. And if you were to look them up, the Emma Nevada and the Chloe, they look a whole lot like Disneyland trains.
Very familiar looking.
Yeah, they have a similar paint scheme and all that stuff. So we wanted to see those. We didn't. We got to see a lot of running trains.
Someday we will. Yeah, there was quite a few trains running. That was pretty cool. Next time we'll have to go on said trains.
And we did see Pacific Electric trolleys, like the ones that were used in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So we did see some Disney connections.
Yes, that too. You can go out there. It's free.
Yeah.
It's, if you're an adult, it's only $12 to go on the trains, basically for all day, which is really cool.
Yeah, you go on as many train rides as you want.
Exactly. You could spend the whole day going on trains and trolleys. But we will have a vlog coming out on our YouTube channel about this this coming weekend, so don't miss that. But before we get into the full show, if you would like to be a part of the show, leave us comments. And we always try to recognize those. And you can also hit us on Twitter with the hashtag Geeks Corner.
Don't hit us.
Because we watch that as well. Yeah, don't hit us. The world doesn't need
We're very fragile.
Or something, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So we thought we'd start tonight off since everybody knows that November 1st is the first day of Christmas.
Yeah, it's true.
Not quite, but we celebrate Thanksgiving here too.
Yeah, we're open to Thanksgiving.
We love to celebrate.
We like to
holidays.
Eat. Yes, we do.
It's the land of really fun drinks at Starbucks and big turkeys and all that fun stuff.
I'm waiting for Miss Chestnut Praline.
Exactly.
I love you, girl.
Yes. And so one of the things that Disney did is they send me books that I should review. So I do review these books. I read them.
It's true. He does.
And here is a nearly 10-pound book.
10 pounds?
Almost. Called Holiday Magic at Disney Parks, Celebrations Around the World from Fall to Winter. It's massive.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you can see how big this book is.
Thick.
But it is a lot of fun, and if I can do this without messing up the show, because I have a keyboard right in front of me, I'm going to open it up to a random page that happens to show Christmas at Disneyland Paris, and you can see the snow, and it's gorgeous. I think they took like 80,000 pictures to narrow it down to this book.
Wow.
Like so many different pictures, and it's got all of the holidays, so they cover Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of that stuff. And different decorations they do.
And from all different decades.
Yeah, and the history too. So like you can see candlelight going all the way back to the beginning and the origins of that, which really that's kind of a story that we've uniquely had on DAPS. You've got Nightmare Before Christmas at Haunted Mansion that you can see different artwork from it on this page. It's a really cool picture of the stretching gallery. Amazing.
Yeah, there's some really fun pictures. You can flip to any random page.
Which is what I'm doing.
And there's going to be a fun picture. Specifically,
more Nightmare Before Christmas.
I flipped to the Candlelight page. And there's a really fun picture of Bill Rogers, who's the voice of Disneyland, doing a sound check at Candlelight. And he always wears these like cozy scarves on Candlelight days.
Yeah.
It's just really,
usually.
Yeah, it's a really fun picture to see. And then it was also really fun. There's a whole parade section for Christmas.
And if you like to get hungry, look at the gingerbread houses.
I wish it was Scratch and Sniff.
This is not as easy to do as you would think, though, because this is an awkward book to carry.
It's very heavy.
Well, and it just takes up lots of space.
Yeah, it does. It was hard to even read it like sitting in my lap because it was just so large.
Yeah, I had it opened all the way across my desk when I was reviewing this. And you got like Toontown.
Oh, I
Main
miss
Street,
Toontown.
And just the Garland, all of these wonderful things. And this year, this book seems even more fitting, just since we're not getting to experience a lot of these things at Disneyland so far. And who knows if we will or not. But this is a really good book. And it would be one I would say that, like, if you're one of those Disney fans, it's like, oh, I want to have some of the kind of unique things that you can just dig in for hours.
There's a lot to unpack. Like, I was sitting there for a half hour and I probably only looked at not even a quarter of it.
And that's not reading all of the storylines in it. Really
just looking at pictures.
Because the storylines are really what's fun too, is because they do a really nice job of going back and being like, hey, this is where this started, and this person did that, and really kind of going into the history, but not too deep. Yes, you can read and get a workout at the same time. But it doesn't go too deep, but it does a nice job of giving a lot. And so definitely check this out. If you want to get it for Christmas, I'd order it sooner rather than later. Because like I haven't seen anyone from DAP spotted in the book, Mary Penguin. That would be pretty epic.
I was looking, especially in the candlelight section.
And with that many pictures, you never know.
And as Bailey pointed out, I think it was a couple weeks ago, there was a random photo on Twitter. A random photo that one of our...
Like 10 years ago, right?
No, it was 2014.
Okay, so 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
But it was of a person that we know now, we did not know then, that had taken this photo, and Mr. Daps and Murray are in the background. Bailey had pointed it out. It was very fun. And it's like, they're prominently...
It led us on this rabbit trail of like, why were we doing this? What were we doing?
Why do we have the camera?
Yeah.
It was very funny, but you really never know where we're going to show up. It's truly spot Mr. Daps.
That is the magic of Disneyland. You know, we used to have a segment on Geeks. No, it wasn't Geeks Corner. It was just on the YouTube, where we would literally put somebody with a camera or a video camera in a random place, like say on the Main Street station on the top deck there. And then I would literally just walk up and down the street in the middle of a crowd, and we'd play. Maybe it was on our Facebook. Maybe even worse, it was on our MySpace.
I was gonna say this was before me.
We'd usually do it in the summer while we were waiting for college band, because it's like, I'm bored, you're bored, let's do something.
Sounds about right. That sounds like college band.
You can't get out of the area too far, because you want to, when it starts crowding up, you want to get your spot. So it's not like you can go do stuff. So you kind of have to come up with unique ideas to keep yourself busy in, say, Town Square, in front of the castle or whatever. So that was one of our mini games that we played one summer. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
It sounds like it.
Absolutely. So let's get into the week in Geek. And this week, I think the top story is that the Mandalorian, more importantly, Baby Yoda or the child,
baby Yoda,
has returned to Disney Plus. And we got a first look at what this season is going to be about. And if you do not want spoilers, or if you have not seen the show, first off, shame on you.
Unless you just don't like Star Wars. That's okay. I'm not going to shame you if you don't like Star Wars. It's okay.
True, but I am wearing a Star Wars bow tie.
That's fine. I have a Star Wars tattoo, man.
Yeah. No, if you don't like Star Wars, you won't care what we're talking about anyway. So it's totally fine. Mary Penguin says that they have 3 fun photos of Mr. Daps in the background of my Disneyland visits before I knew him. That's great.
I want to see him.
Yeah, and then Bailey says, listen, I get great enjoyment of watching old musical chair videos and happening upon a Mr. Daps. That occasionally would happen too, and sometimes I'd be taking pictures or videoing them, and you'd see me in the background or something, or just watching Time Robert.
It's very funny how often I'll watch videos now, and I'll be like, because I see a wild Mr. Daps appear.
His natural habitat.
Yeah, like truly natural habitat.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Yep.
Yeah.
True. So, Mandalorian.
Yes.
What would you've now been warned, we're going into spoiler territory. So, earmuffs or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about Splash Mountain, but was that a deep dig to pass Geeks Corner?
Deep cut.
Deep cut. Okay, whatever it's called. Tell us the overview, Katie, of this episode of The Mandalorian, and then we'll dive into it.
This episode. Basically our Mando, Din Djarin, right? As you say it. He goes off on an adventure to find another Mandalorian. He is told that there is a Mandalorian on Tatooine, Turns out it's not a Mandalorian. It turns out that it is somebody wearing
It's,
Boba Fett's armor.
It's the Marshal.
Um,
I laughed so hard at that.
I thought it was very funny, mainly because even though I think it says a lot to Pedro Pascal's physicality, because you could tell he was starstruck when Boba Fett walks into this cantina and he goes, "Oh man, like I've been waiting to meet you," and then he takes the helmet off.
It was a skinny guy.
Yeah, it's Timothy Oliphant, which I find hilarious.
And he was really good.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
he was so
my
good.
first thought is like, I hope we get more of him somehow in the season because I really enjoyed him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I really like Timothy Oliphant a lot. I really liked him in The Office, and I liked seeing him in this type of role, just because I thought it was very funny.
Mhm.
But basically, the what was it? Maz Pig? I can't remember. It was something with a P. This town is under attack by a crate dragon, and so they have to take on the crate dragon, who is living in an abandoned Sarlacc pit. Something you don't hear about very often. So, can I get into the grand reveal of the episode?
Yeah.
They defeat the
want
crate
story.
dragon,
And they live happily ever after.
and then Boba Fett is there.
I just imagined what were they called? Mr. Smythe and Mr. Jones. And they live happily ever after. And then they started singing like an exit song to The Mandalorian.
Maz Pelgo
Good job.
came into me.
So this was an episode that was really funny to me because I was a marshal, like because that's the badge I had for Halloween last week.
Mhm.
And the moment, like I started watching the episode move forward, I was like, "Huh, that's funny." Like there was a few things that just started popping up. I'm like, "This is getting really Western feeling." So I texted Katie. I'm like, "Does this feel like a Western to you? Because this is totally going like Old West to me."
And I had already watched the episode.
Yeah.
So
And then like the further in it goes, the more Western it gets. And then I'm like, it's really weird that they're up on the stilts, the houses, and that just doesn't work for me. And then it had to work because it became a plot point. So it wasn't just a dumb thing. But which I'm still a little bit on the edge on that one from a physics standpoint.
yes, your texts were very funny when you were watching it. I very much enjoyed it.
Mary Penguin's asking if it looked intentional that the armor did not fit the Marshal. Absolutely.
Yes.
He when they told the story, it made complete sense. You know, he traded for it basically.
Yeah.
And but I was very amused that like first season of Mando had spaghetti Western vibe going to it. And it's like, oh yeah, it's spaghetti Western in space. And then this one is like, oh, we're going all in on that Western thing. And it worked for me.
Yeah.
And I thought the whole episode was a lot of fun. Baby Yoda had some really cute moments.
But he wasn't the star of the episode,
which
I love.
He didn't steal the show either.
No,
he
which
added to it.
I think there were parts of season 1 where it was definitely like, oh, you were just really wanting to play up the fact that Baby Yoda is very cute, which he was. And I'm not going to take that for granted.
And I'm assuming we're going to get more of that this season.
I agree. I just really liked that we got a very strong, solid first episode. And if you want to compare it, I mean, we got more Baby Yoda than we did in the first episode of the first season.
True.
So,
well, and we got a reveal in the last 2 seconds of this episode that we won't talk about tonight. Like I think that one we can dig into more as the season goes on, because I just think we got a reveal of an actor that we know who he is and who he could be playing, or we could get a surprise. And I just don't feel like we have. Like I think he is, but maybe he's not.
Wait, but I already said it. So I'm just going to say it.
Oh, keep going then.
He's credited as Boba Fett.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, he's credited. Well, he's not credited in the show. He's credited on IMDb as Boba Fett.
Okay, I was like, I don't remember seeing that in the. Okay.
Trust me, I was eagle eyes on the. But it is the actor who plays Jango Fett, which obviously
I think is great.
That's perfect because they're
beautiful.
Clones. Because I literally was like, how are they going to pull off bringing Boba Fett back? But yes, no, he is credited as Boba Fett, which apparently I could have looked up on IMDb
And I'm curious to see if he ends up being a good Boba Fett or a bad Boba Fett. Like I could see this becoming kind of a buddy cop thing happening throughout the season.
I'm good Mando. I'm bad Mando.
Or even like they're just kind of both, because they both have their rough sides. Like I'm gonna do this or you're gonna pay. And the Marshal kind of was that almost good cop, bad cop with him, but I don't know how much we're actually going to see of him. Like, I think we could see return once in a while or something, or a connection here and there. But I am really curious to see what they do with Boba Fett, and then what happened to his ship.
Yeah.
Like, is he going to find that? Are we going to see it again? I don't know. That would be fascinating to me. One of the things I think we should hit real quick before we wrap up this part of the segment is the music. I feel like they took to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Like, it was great last season, and I literally was like, oh, I want this soundtrack like yesterday. And I don't think it's up yet, but I should look again. I didn't see it when I looked the other day. But I thought they took it to a whole new level. Like, it just added more depth
really good.
and richness to the score. And
I watched this episode with my AirPods in simply because I wanted the whole effect of Mando. I was like, I don't want to watch it on TV. I want to hear everything.
The Mando effect.
And hearing the music in my AirPods, I was like, also, how many times can I flex that I have AirPods in like 2 sentences? But it was really, really awesome to like hear it in my ears.
Yeah, I would think
as dorky as that sounds.
Like, yeah, I don't have those, so.
Oh, you don't know? Okay. I have AirPods.
Yeah, I've got a Bose speaker or something. But no, I prefer the AirPods for that in particular. I did think it was interesting too how they went into the Tuscan culture even more, and you wrote an article tonight about how they used the sign for that, and how they actually brought somebody in who was deaf to help create that sign.
Yes.
And that sign language, and I thought that was a super cool and great choice on the powers that be's behalf. Like, they just made a good choice there.
And I think that there's a very important aspect to deaf culture, which is that hearing people should not be the people that represent deaf people. They shouldn't teach sign language. They shouldn't create new signs, because there are frequently like name signs and things for people in power or famous people. Hearing people should not be the people to do that. And so I think that the fact that a deaf person is who made the Tuscan Sign Language and is continuing to develop it, and was the main,
which tells us there's more coming, which is also cool.
I thought it was super duper cool. Also, he talked about it in an interview, and he said that he didn't want it to resemble ASL, and he literally studied the culture of Tuscan Raiders and incorporated how he thought they would sign for things.
I love that is he studied the culture, which means he had to watch a lot of Star Wars movies and then also a lot of Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
They've shown that in the cartoons a little bit. And then probably dug into some of the extended stuff, maybe even some of the, what do they call it, the legends now?
The legends.
Yeah. So I think that's super cool. And
yeah.
I'm curious to see how that moves, like as it moves forward, how that develops. And I think that'll be cool. Which means we're coming back to Tatooine, is my hunch. Do you think they go to Dagobah?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, I feel like because the Force is so strong there, like there's a chance that you could end up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to talk about this a lot in the coming weeks and months, obviously. It'll be fun. So play along with us. It'll be great. Another Star Wars news this week is Star Wars: The Rise of the Resistance. You can now get your boarding pass or your boarding group if you're over in Florida and you have an active reservation and ticket for Disney's Hollywood Studios on said day. You can get it at 7 o'clock from anywhere, basically, in your hotel, from the Disney Skyline or whatever. And I'm assuming you can even do it from home if you're a local.
That's what we're assuming.
They haven't said otherwise.
They said something on the actual Disney Parks blog article about you could do it from your hotel or elsewhere, like nearby. The phrasing of it was very strange.
Yeah.
But you would think you'd be able to do it at home.
Yeah. Hopping back to the Mary Penguin and Clocky about the shiny orb they picked out of the body, I actually think that is a pearl.
Oh, yes.
And that goes into some other stories that I think are from the legends now regarding this. And
Great dragons do appear in canon, though, right? They're not completely legends.
But I think some of the extended story, and I don't remember where it's from, is I do know the pearl thing is, and that's a big part of Tuscan culture also, isn't it? And
I mean, stealing shiny things.
Defeated it. Yeah. So it'll be fun to see if that was just a, hey, look, we got this, or if this is something more that ends up being a plot device later in the season. So back to the other plot, which is Rise of the Resistance. Murray and I had a incredible adventure, I think is a good way to
To
put
say
it.
the least.
We got in line to get on the Disney Skyliner an hour and 45 to 50 minutes before Disney's Hollywood Studios opened. Skyliner starts at an hour before it opens. We were on 20 minutes later, so it was basically a 20-minute wait that we waited an hour for. Then we got to Caribbean Beach, which you got in another line. We got onto the second Skyliner 11 minutes before Disney's Hollywood Studios opened. We got off of it 4 minutes before the studios opened. We're at security 2 minutes before the park opened. Thank goodness for Disney security, because if they hadn't been awesome, we wouldn't have made it through, because we both had backpacks with tons of camera equipment, which we got stopped every security for, because they're like, what's in this? Show us that. And it's fair, but we just had too many lenses, I guess. And literally walked into the studios about probably 50 seconds before it opened, had the app open, did the thing as the park opened, like, I think I got it, but it's not showing me that I got it. I don't know. Let's try again. Well, it's not letting me get it again. And then we finally figured out that we got in our boarding group. It was ridiculously stressful, because we waited an hour in, I'm going to say 45 to 50 minutes for it all to come down to 45 seconds. Like, it was that close. And then not knowing if we got it. So now you can do it from your hotel, so you don't have to wait in all that line.
Yes.
And the thing I think would be great with that is, if you get an early boarding group, that could be a problem, the same problem. But I'm hoping it takes the pressure off the transportation system, because my one complaint of our trip to Florida was the transportation at Pop Century. It was just always overwhelmed. And it's not like there's a million people there, because they're limiting capacity still, but the whole thing was overwhelmed. And I can only imagine how much you would have loved this, Katie, because you don't tend to like experiences like this. Like, I think you would have been like, I want to go home now. Am I close? Actually, no, you'd be like, I'm going back to the hotel and I don't care. Is that close?
You're calling me out. I am what the kids call severely anxious.
I'm not saying it's bad.
No.
I just think you wouldn't have done it.
No. But as Mr. Daps so eloquently just put, I panic in high stress situations, which often leads to me
or you just stop. Like, you're just like, I'm not doing it.
I stop. No, that's what it is. Like, that's, my brain just goes, I will not process this information anymore. So there's been a few Walt Disney World experiences where I went and sat somewhere, or I contemplated taking a nap at the hotel, because like, my brain is very overwhelmed with new information.
Yeah.
That's why the Jungle Trek at Animal Kingdom is my favorite place, because it's a very nice, quiet place to sit. The tigers don't judge you. But yes, true. So I really like this. There are going to be 2 drops. There's the 7 a.m. drop and the 2 p.m. drop. You do have to be in the park for the 2 p.m. drop, which I think is completely fair.
And really, you want to go for the 7 o'clock drop anyway, because there's not a ton left for 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so your chances are best to go for it at least twice, as opposed to.
And I would think that if you're in the park for the 2 p.m. drop, you had a park reservation, you didn't get a 7 a.m., and you're just there enjoying your day, and you go, oh, let me see if I can get a 2 p.m. I don't think that's oh man, gotta get on Rise. Like, I think that if that's your priority, you're gonna wake up at 7 in the morning and do that from your hotel room.
I would hope. And the real challenge is with Hollywood Studios right now is, I think by my count, there's only 9 attractions. And obviously you're not getting any entertainment coming back. And so I think that's a challenge for Hollywood Studios right now. And to me, if they can do it safely, they need to extend their hours, so that you can get more people on that. You can get more people on Mickey and Minnie, and you can get more people on Slinky Dog Dash. And, it's just, like, it's a fun park to be in. But I think it's the only park we left early. Like, I think we left, and it wasn't super early. It was like a half an hour before the park closed, but we were kind of like, okay, we did everything we wanted to do.
With no nighttime spectaculars, with no entertainment, with...
Well, and we had entertainment there, because we watched the band that's not there anymore. And, but we didn't do anything in Toy Story Land, because the lines were just, like, they look too long.
Yeah, you wouldn't do
No, it does not
Tower
include the Skyliner.
or Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah, and part of it was, it took a while to eat too. Like everything, it just it was the one park that even at lower capacity, because there's not as much to do, everything just took longer. And so we did some shopping. Like it was just a different experience, and we had a blast there, and it was fun. Like we had a great time with PhotoPass, and like we didn't have a bad time. It just was not the same experience as the other parks. Were like, as long as we could be there, we were there. And so I'm curious to see how this plays out. I hope it works out and gets more people on it. I saw this morning, I think they actually opened the attraction before the park opened, which is good and bad. I mean, and that comes back to if you can get into the park in time. Like, I would hope they don't penalize you for not being there. Like, if you get boarding group 6 and you're not there at opening and they're like, sorry, I don't think they would do that, but I could see that being a problem.
Yeah. You never know.
You don't. And that's what always keeps things interesting.
To say the least.
Yeah, so let's keep moving around the world. Hong Kong Disneyland will be celebrating, the anniversary is already in, but it starts on the 21st of November, if I recall. And the big thing I think that's coming out of this is they're officially like opening, or whatever you want to call it, to the public, the Castle of Magical Dreams.
Yes.
With its 13 stories and towers of magical happiness. And so they are going to, you know, it'll be a big event, and you'll get to see what this turned into. What do you think of the castle so far, by the way?
I think it's gorgeous.
Okay.
I was actually just saying earlier when we were looking at that holiday book that I have this weird thing when I look at pictures of the last 15 years of Hong Kong, because my brain goes, Disneyland. Oh, no. Because it's identical to our Sleeping Beauty castle.
Yeah.
I think that Hong Kong deserves a unique castle.
I think it's a better choice.
I think I think that it's very beautiful. It's a lot like, it's not like Shanghai's castle, but it is like Shanghai's castle, and the fact that it's very grand, it's very beautiful. It's
kind of a mix now between Shanghai and Florida.
Yeah.
Or Shanghai and Tokyo.
Yeah.
I would say Florida just for colors. But
yeah.
Or vibrancy.
But I love the fact that there are different stories represented. I am very excited to see, like, I mean, we've already seen photos of it, but I'm excited to see more photos of it.
Up close is always cooler.
Up close, yeah.
Like that always makes things more interesting.
Yeah, I just find the feng shui of Hong Kong fascinating, with the mountains behind the castle. So I automatically think that their castle is beautiful, just because I think the landscape behind it is so nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very, very excited to see it open. And I'm very excited to see Hong Kong get to celebrate the 15th anniversary.
So they've redone now Hong Kong's castle.
Correct.
I like that they've repainted Cinderella Castle at Magic Kingdom, because now it differentiates Tokyo and Florida, and I think that's a good choice. Do you think they should go further with probably Tokyo Castle and be like, hey, let's differentiate this even more as well?
I don't think they should do that.
Okay.
Because at this point in time, all the castles are different. Yes, Tokyo, they could different.
You could make the argument, though, that Disneyland's castle and Hong Kong's Disneyland, Hong Kong Disneyland Castle were different too, though, because they had different paint jobs.
Yes, but they looked so similar. And they were very similar in height. Like the overall appearance of it was very, very similar. I think at this point, though, Tokyo's castle looks so different from Walt Disney World's castle. I feel like at this point it would be like trying to say that Paris and Disneyland have the same castle. I don't think that they look that similar. Yes, they are the same castle and like same height and all those things. But I think that the lighter paint job differentiates itself enough from the new colorful paint job at Walt Disney World.
See, and that's what's weird to me is I would expect Tokyo to get more colorful soon. And because that kind of goes with the culture.
Well, that's the thing is I'm surprised that the castles weren't flipped.
Well, 50th though.
I know, but
I mean that's a 50th thing.
I agree.
I think Tokyo should change their castle, and I don't actually have a great idea for how they should change it. I just think it'd be super cool to go a completely different direction and lean into something that's a little bit more cultural, I guess, like something that's either going to fit with Tokyo or just something like this is the thing they really geek out about there. And
which is everything in Tokyo.
true. But I think it'd be cool if they could, even if you just changed the towers a little bit or add some different ornamentation around, like just differentiate it. So when you look at it, if it was black and white,
It's fair.
you're not going, wait, which one's that? And I will admit, like the grounds around Tokyo Disneyland is gorgeous. So that's different too. But
it's true.
But I think you take it to a whole new level, and maybe it's a different paint job that's refreshed, and it's it's a different color combination that's completely different as well. I kind of doubt that would happen though, because it feels like pink and blue is the direction all the castles are going.
As I say, I am still gonna say the castle in Paris is, in my opinion, the most beautiful castle.
It is a very
I
nice
know that I
castle.
have the original Sleeping Beauty castle. That's because she's my home castle, and I love her very, very, very much. But I think that when I see Sleeping Beauty castle in Paris, like it takes my breath away. So
it's a very
I'd like to see it in
castle.
person someday.
Yeah. Clocky's throwing different ideas, whether it's Duffy, Chippendale, or Donald Duck Castle.
Duffy.
Why not a Mickey Mouse Castle? To be completely honest, I feel like the Mickey Mouse Castle should be in Tokyo, and it could be anything.
If it's a Duffy castle, though, it has to be Duffy and friends. They all have to be there.
Well, it could be Mickey and
Gelatoni,
friends, and then you can
Olu.
have even more. But we're running out of time, Katie. So what should people do?
Go to daftmagic.com. Check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens. Subscribe to our mailing list so you don't miss a thing. You can also go to our social media platforms like Twitter, where we are daps_magic, or at the Geeks Corner, or Instagram, like where we're Daps Magic and at Geeks Corner, or on Facebook. Just search us. You'll find us.
We hope.
Yeah, probably. I think we've made it pretty easy. Daps Magic Geeks Corner. Find them.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of videos coming up. We've actually got some that are literally planned out a month ahead of time now. Murray and I have been working through the archives, and we've found some really cool stuff that we've got going. But thank you so much for joining us this week. We hope you're having a wonderful one. But that is all the time we have for you this week. So we will see you around the corner.
Bye.